Hi, my name is Muuse, and my final major project is a narrative game called Advanced Judgement. I love narrative games. I love the immersion it makes me feel. I love the way it builds immersion through story building, through voice acting even, the characters. Ever since making my first narrative game within Twine within my first year, I knew I wanted to do something similar for my final major project. And with that, I wanted to answer if players would choose the morally correct answer within a video game scenario. Advanced Judgement is built in Twine, a browser-based games engine. I designed the game with critical parts in the story just to see what players would choose, and to also see if they're obligated to choose the more morally correct answer. To elevate my project from a simple text-based game, I decided to add voice acting and images to correspond with the choices. So the first thing I worked on was the planning part towards the game. I want to make a dystopian future where artificial intelligence has taken over. The main character will be a young child who tries to find his way back to his family. I got inspiration for my character by a game called Detroit Become Human. So the main character will be choosing a lot of options to help either some characters or not. One more choice you can choose is whether to ridicule one of the characters to a point where he literally leaves the group and you can finish the game without him. The cliffhanger will end after an interaction with a store manager called Gabriel. You ask him a question about your family, he would point the direction towards it, and you think to yourselves, do you take it or not? So the next step was for me to create the mood boards and the likeness for the characters. I did have 6 original characters at first, but I ended up having to scrap, I think, 2 of them due to the game being just too vast and having many choices if I was to add those 2. Visuals are pretty important in my game due to you knowing which character you're talking to. At first, I was going to use Unity, but then it was suggested to me by my lecturer to use Twine, as it's much more easier to implement my mechanics. I 100% made the right choice using Twine. Once I'm done with my final project, I'll be testing my game with a small group of individuals to see how they react. After their playthrough, I'll be giving them a questionnaire to see how they felt about the game in terms of their opinions, in terms of what they feel about the mechanics, and what they felt was morally correct to them in terms of the choices. And after my questionnaire, I'll be writing a small essay to analyze my results and present my findings. Right now, I'd say I'm fairly happy with where my project's going. I'm a bit struggling with certain aspects in terms of the voice acting because there is quite a lot of lines to record, and especially even with the drawings, I would have to change up the expressions quite a bit just to match the choices what your player is going to see. I think I'm happy with the choice I made. I feel like it's very achievable for me to do this. And all I have to do is just make sure I just nail certain aspects and that's it. I think the project has achieved what I wanted to do in terms of making a narrative on this scale, which I'm pretty pleased about, just doing it myself and obviously with the help of my friends in terms of the voice acting and others. But yeah, I'm pretty glad, I'm pretty proud of myself, to be honest, yeah. This project has been a massive challenge, but I'm glad to have done it. I'm very pleased I have finished it, even though I had to overcome a lot over the year, but it's done and I hope you enjoy my game.